Hello, welcome to Pilates with Nicole. For this half-hour class, you will just need some kind of towel or blanket or kind of flat-ish pillow to bolster your head, your hips. And we'll also be placing it between your knees in a little bit. So again, anything that makes you feel like when you're laying down, your head is in line with the rest of your spine. You may feel like you don't even want that to begin, and you might want to just take it out from under your head and lay totally flat. That's fine. The bolster under your head is just a nice way, because most of us have a little bit of forward head because we're always on technology. So the bolster kind of helps have your neck released without kind of being too far back. Okay, so that being said, you're going to start on your back, knees bent, feet flat, arms resting down by your side. And we're going to start with breath, as we often do. And just breathe for a moment. Just do whatever you have to do. Human breaths, as one of my teachers say. So you don't need to do anything special. Just kind of check in with yourself. Notice if your shoulders are holding. Sometimes the first time you lay down, your shoulders will kind of stay up. Sometimes you might want to walk your hands down the mat a little bit. Let the shoulders relax, open onto the mat. And we're going to start moving your arms. So on an inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. And then on the exhale, bring them back down to the mat. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale down. And it might be helpful to feel like or to imagine really that you're moving your arms through something like wet cement or pudding, something that gives you a little bit of resistance, like water. Inhale, but maybe something a little thicker than water. And exhale. The inhale, you lift your arms. It's almost like you're making more space in your back and side body. And then on the exhale, you're just helping that air out. And again, inhale. And exhale. Let the arms rest. This time you're going to exhale, scoop your abdominals a lot. Flatten the lower back on the mat, tipping your tailbone up. Inhale, tip your tailbone forward into the mat. Arch your lower back, exaggerating the arch of your back. And again, exhale. And inhale, tilt forward. Not necessarily a very big movement. I'm kind of exaggerating it so you can see even. Now here's the challenge. Can you do this movement with your lower spine, basically like belly and ribs down, and keep your head still? So my chin was kind of following my movement to begin there. I'm going to try to keep my chin and my nose facing the ceiling, still, and move the bottom of my spine separately. Inhale to arch. I'm arching, but keeping my head in place. And then exhale, keeping my head to tuck. What that ends up doing is you're already practicing stabilizing your upper body while you move your lower body. And we'll practice the reverse when you're lifting up into your bridges. So let's do a few more rounds of this. And I didn't mention at the top, but if I'm saying inhale and you're exhaling, or if I'm moving or breathing too fast or too slow, do everything you need at your own pace. The breath is a suggestion. You can try it, but don't let it, upset you if you're not breathing at the right time. The most important part is that you're breathing while you're moving, that you're not holding breath. All right, so find a neutral pelvis, and that neutral pelvis is when Basically, you're not overarching, you're not flattening the lower back. Your pubic bone and your two hip points, the kind of bony part of the front of your hip, are on the same plane. That's your neutral pelvis. So from here, you're gonna press your triceps into the floor. You might even bend your elbows so you have little robot arms here. Press your triceps into the floor. Walk your feet a little closer together if they're wide. And pull your abdominals in without flattening the lower back. So just pull your abdominals in. Keep breathing. Can you engage your belly while you're breathing? That's the challenge a lot of the time. And then we're going to start to move and challenge it even more. So keeping your hips so still, lift one leg up to tabletop and lower it. Suggested breath is exhale to lift the leg. You're going to alternate, inhale to lower, switch legs. But if it doesn't work out that way, don't worry, just keep breathing and keep your abs in, because you're trying to keep your hips totally still so you're not shifting your weight. If you see like this sometimes happens, usually smaller, I'm exaggerating it. No shifting your hips. You're going to shift totally just in your muscles, no moving the bones in your hips, that is. So triceps are pressing, abs are in. And when you put your foot down, press into the floor with that foot. And you'll feel the back of your leg turn on probably. And that'll also help you stabilize your pelvis. A lot of things going on. Not to shift. Oh yeah, I shifted there visibly. So if you exhale as you're doing the switching part, like right here where you lower your foot and start to lift the other one up, that usually helps, but it's okay if you're not exhaling at that moment. Okay, I'm gonna finish up this last one. Lower the feet, relax the arms, shake it out for a moment. If you need to rock your knees a little, let your hips move. And then you're going to take your hands behind your head, feet are flat on the mat again, and we're gonna start our curl-ups. But I invite you to try to find some of that engagement that hopefully you found when you were moving your legs around, of like pulling the abdominals in, wrapping, feeling all of this nice and stable. And then on the exhale, curl up and lower. It might feel a little tricky and weird to be not moving your bottom of your body when you're moving the top, but it's possible. I'm going to do two more here. You're welcome to do two more as well. And then lower down and relax for a moment. Okay, so the curl up, we just tried a bunch without really going too far into it. But when you curl up, try exhaling. Try thinking of your ribs, these ones closing towards each other and like knitting together. And having that be what lifts you up, as opposed to what sometimes we do is we lead with our head, and then it becomes like a neck exercise that's not very pleasant. So let's try again with the option to make it a little harder. You can lift your legs up to tabletop if you want to make it more challenging. So with your knees right over the hip sockets, 90-degree bend in your knee. If you get tired, you can drop the feet. That's also another option, and you'll still be holding from your lower abs, but this is definitely more challenging. So abs are in, and then you'll close your ribs on an exhale to curl up. And lower. And lift. And lower. I'm going for 8, so this is 3 for me. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you can hug those knees into your chest. So good. Okay, feet flat on the floor. You're gonna take this towel or pillow or whatever you're using out from under your head or wherever it was and place it between your thighs. If the pillow was under your head the whole time, just take a moment to like acknowledge this difference, feeling your neck on the mat. Hopefully it feels okay. Walk your feet really close together. So basically however thick your little bolster is, that's how far apart your feet should be. From here, we're going to go into some bridges. So you're going to start by scooping your belly, flattening the lower back on the mat, and then beginning to lift your tailbone, your sacrum, your lower back, middle back, upper back into a bridge as high as you want to go, and then roll down. If you noticed that your grip on this thing got a little loose, that means you just have to hug it a little more. You got to squeeze those inner thighs. They help in these bridges. And lower down. Can you keep your chin and your nose still, just like you did in the tucks at the very beginning? Can you keep your arms long on the mat? If you feel parts of your arms lifting, like your wrists or something, bend the elbows like robots again and press your triceps. You want to keep the collarbone and shoulders wide on the mat, even as you lift into your bridge. Couple more here. And then I'll offer another option for a nice stretch. Okay, so even if you were doing robot arms, let's bring the arms down. You're going to tuck, lift up into a bridge and hold. Make sure you're squeezing your towel a little bit. And then reach the arms up and all the way back to the floor, unless that's no good on your shoulders. And then as you're reaching your fingertips back for the wall behind you, roll your spine down bone by bone. Notice if any bones want to skip, oof, like in any tight spots in your back, and then reach the arms up and down. Lift again. We're going to do this 3 more times. Keep your breath flowing. And when you roll down, think of your hips reaching for your feet, your fingers reaching for the wall behind you. Whew, 2 more. Reach up, back. Down you go. You might feel a tightness in parts of your back because we're stretching out your back muscles here. And roll up. Reach, 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 reach. Soften through the spine. Ooh. And then the arms come forward. All right, take this towel out. We're gonna come back to that bridge, but we're gonna take it out for now and roll over onto your side. Actually, this is a great place to put that towel back under your head. We're gonna take a little twist stretch. So you're gonna lay down on your side, like knees stacked in a little tabletop position, hands one on top of the other. I don't think you can see, but they're stacked right here. On an inhale, recommended, lift your arm up, and then on the exhale, twist it back to the floor or wherever it can go. If this feels like too big of a stretch, you can put that top hand on your hip, but still try to open up your chest. Ooh. And then come forward. And we'll do that 2 more times. We'll stay on the last one for 2 full breaths. And then staying here. Feel that breath again into that side body that we talked about in the very beginning. And into your back. And then reach the arm up and forward. And you can just roll over. I'm going to flip over so that you can hear and see me better. But you can just flip right on over. You don't need to necessarily see me, right? So hands are stacked, knees are stacked, kind of like a book, right? On the inhale, you lift, and on the exhale, you find the twist. And then coming back, we'll float 2 more times, staying on the last one. And up and over. I'll say one thing, if you're feeling like the too much twist in your lower back, it's a little scary or uncomfortable. If you pull your knees more into your chest, that should take it out of your lower back quite a bit. All right, bring it up and forward. And we're going to come back onto your back for a little bit more curl ups. And this time with a twist, we warmed up that rotation in your spine. So taking your hands behind your head. And I didn't mention this before. I was sort of focusing on those upper abs and ribs closing. When you're curling up, right, you've got the ribs is the sort of the motor for folding your spine up. And another way to help keep the work in here and keep it out of your neck is to gently press your head into your hands. And when you do that, just keep your chin and nose sort of in this neutral position, just pressing a little back. The chin might tuck a little bit. And then with your head pressing into your hands and your hands pressing back into your head, find a sort of equilibrium of a little bit of work. You keep it going as you lift. So the head gently pressing into the hands should take it out of the neck a little bit, at least out of the front of the neck, and put it more into your abs. So try that, and let's add a twist. So you're going to curl up and twist to one side and curl up to the other side of the room. And you can start to lift your opposite leg. So when you twist to the left, you lift your left leg up, you lower down. When you twist to the right, you lift your right leg up, you lower it down. The head into hands thing is really, it's really gentle. It's really more about engaging your back and your abs more. So if you feel that little kind of pressure system of head into hands, hands into head is making your neck feel funny, ease up on it. You don't have to do it too hard. I'm going to go for 2 more rounds here. I'm going left and right. And then lower down. Whew, okay, take this towel, bolster, whatever it is that you're using, and place it under your hips. So you're going to lift your hips up into a little bridge, place it under your tush, right, so that your pelvis is on the top of it. It feels even, and it's not too much in your lower back. You want like the heavy part of your pelvis, your tailbone, your sacrum to be on top of it, as opposed to like hanging over it. Okay, because now with this little bit of elevation, it might be a little easier to find your lower abs as you lift one leg up and then lift the other leg up. So you're in your tabletop, you're going to keep your head down, and we're going to do some ab series legs with a focus on the low abs. So basically one knee is going to come in, and you can help it in if you want to give it a little pull as the other leg goes out, and then switch. So to make this harder, you would go really low with the legs, okay? And to make it a little less challenging on your back and hips and abs, you would go really high. So that's how you can adjust for yourself. And really the goal is to get those legs moving in opposition and keeping your hips pretty darn still. So remember all that tucking and tilting we did? None of that. You're using those muscles to stabilize the hips. And enough of that. When you bend the knees in, you can pull them in. Feel your pelvis tuck, right? Your tailbone is going up towards the ceiling now. Get a nice little stretch. And then sending the knees away from you, find neutral again. Bring your legs to tabletop. And this time you're going to press those arms into the mat. Remember, if this is really hard, if your wrists tent up like this, you can make robot arms. Whatever you need to do to keep your shoulders wide. Okay, abs in. We were practicing breathing and keeping your abs engaged, right? So that's what you need here. You're gonna stretch those legs out, ooh, and come in. Stretch out, abs are in. And it's the same thing, basically always the same. To make it harder, you go lower, oof, that's hard. And to make it less hard, you go up a little higher, or a lot higher. I will say one thing is you want to think about your thigh bones doing the moving, because sometimes we do this and that doesn't really actually affect your abs that much. It doesn't challenge them. You want to move your thigh bones away from your center. Whoa, because then your abs have to work, and then your thigh bones in. Thigh bones out. Oof, thigh bones in. Let's try 2 more. Last one. And rest. Okay, so for the next one, if you're really tight in your hamstrings, this might be a challenge, but you're gonna stretch your legs up to the sky, try to get them as straight as you can, and then you're gonna lower one leg just halfway, and you can pull the other leg towards you. Grab whatever you can grab without doing something weird to your neck and shoulders, and then switch, and switch. And switch. So if you're super tight and this is like feels awful, put one leg down and just lower and lift one leg like this. You try to get a little stretch at the top without changing your back too much, right? And that'll be a way to modify, because this can be a real challenge if you got tight hamstrings. All right, we got what? One more set, I say. We're gonna do the really hard one, which is lower lift. That's when you take both legs and you lower and lift them. So again, you've got robot arm options, regular straight arm options. Legs go up. If you're a tight hamstring person or tight hips, you can totally have your knees a little bent. Just keep them the same shape. Don't let them change shape, okay? So your arms are pressing, your abs are in, just like that little marching exercise we did before. And now you're gonna lower both legs some amount, I don't know how far, and then lift. Lower and lift. So I'm trying to keep my hips pretty darn still, right? I'm not gonna arch my belly forward. I wanna try to keep it, and only go as far down as I'm in control. Whew. Then once I feel gravity winning and taking over my body, I hightail it back up to 90. Let's try a few more. This same modification, if 2 legs is too much, is lowering and lifting from your abs, okay? Let's try one more. Okay, bend those knees in. Draw some circles with your kneecaps, bringing them really close to your chest and then over your hips. Really close and over. This is a nice little safe stretch for your lower back. Reverse those circles. And then stretch one leg long and hug the other knee in. Hopefully, with this little extra raise of the hips, you're gonna feel a little stretch in your hip flexors, maybe in your quad. Pull this knee in. Sometimes that helps stretch this hip more. And then switch. Oh. So you might feel like a stretch just letting the leg go, but if you're not that tight or if you're pretty mobile in your hips, you might want to really stretch that other leg out long, maybe pointing or flexing the foot, whatever feels most useful to you. Everybody's really different in like what they need to feel the stretch, so kind of discover it for yourself. Okay, feet flat on the floor. Gingerly tuck, lift your hips up and take that thing out from under your hips. Roll your spine down. Enjoy for a moment the sense of like, oh, extra space maybe under your lower back, or sense like the floor is really hard all of a sudden if you are on a soft thing. But if you place your hands actually under your lower back like me, you might feel a little movement in your lower back with your breath. Like your lower back can actually expand down into your hands here with your breath. And that's a really good thing because you want your whole torso, your sides and your back to be able to move and expand with breath. Okay, let's flip over onto your stomach. We're gonna do some upper back work. So taking your legs really long, if you can zip them together, that's like ideal. It'll give your outer hips a little bit of a stretch. But if you find that that's like very, very challenging, you can open them. Just don't be like too open, okay? Try to have a sense of the inner thighs, again, hugging the midline. Take your hands underneath your forehead resting down. Here too, take a moment to relax the upper back. And then just when you're hugging those inner thighs together, really feel like it's happening from the inside of your legs up into your lower abs. From here, just the head, chest, and heart are gonna lift and lower. We'll add the weight of your arms if you want it in a few, but just finding this lift. Can you keep it out of your lower back by pulling your abdominals in, like right these guys down here? Can you try to lift them away from the mat? Even if they're technically still on the mat, they're like not pushing down into the mat, they're trying to lift. And then your glutes can go towards your feet a little bit. So they're like engaging down towards your feet. That should also help keep this in your upper back and out of your lower back. If you're ready to glue a hand to your forehead, that top hand can stay glued to your forehead as you lift. So I invite you to do 4 with one arm and then 4 with the other. And then if you want to try both arms, you can. So go ahead and switch when you're done with your 4, other hand on top, lift. Ooh. One side might feel different than the other. And then if you are so inclined, you're gonna lift both hands and arms up. And you can go slower than me. I'm showing it kind of fast, to be honest, but you're gonna lift and lower, lift, ooh, and lower. Are your abs still trying to lift away from the mat? Are your glutes still trying to go for your feet? That's really important for this work. Ooh, one more. Okay, sway your hips, release your tush for a moment. We're gonna try one more thing with your arms down by your side. So you're gonna take your arms long by your side, and if you can put your forehead on the mat, that's actually ideal. I'm just turning this way so you can hear me better. But basically the first thing to go is gonna be you're gonna roll your shoulders open, lifting the arms up, palms facing the ceiling. I'm gonna flip my head now. So then once you do that, once your shoulders lift and your fingers reach back, pull those abs in, send your glutes towards your feet, and then lift your head, chest, and heart up. So now you're in your little swan or baby cobra if you do yoga, right? And you're gonna rotate the palms to face down and then rotate them up. And imagine this rotation happening in your armpits. So it's really the whole arm is rotating. Woo. Rotate from the back of the armpits, right? Feel those rotators. Feel perhaps your chest opening as you flip the palms to face down. There's a big chest opening there. 2 more. And last one. And then lower down. You can take a moment here if that was really difficult, if you found it hard to breathe. And then push yourself into your child's pose. So resting your head. I really insist on the head resting on the floor. Walk your hands long And once again, breathe into the sides of your body. In a moment, you're going to walk yourself up to seated. And when you do that, pull your abdominals in. So I'm going to walk my hands right next to my knees here, pull my abs in and push myself up. As if you were doing a roll up to standing, right? Come on up to tall. Take a look to the right and to the left. Just feel, if this is an uncomfortable position for your knees, sit in a comfortable way because we're going to be here for a moment. Or you can come up to standing. If sitting on the floor is not comfortable, just come on up to standing. Because you're going to look to the right and to the left a few times. And then I'm going to turn to face you. You can stay where you are, but you're going to just let your ear drop to one side. And if your left ear is going to your left shoulder, you'll take your right arm down and slightly out to the side. Again, you can be doing this standing. And if you take your other hand up and just rest it on your head. So my left ear is going to my left shoulder, so my left hand is on my head now. And my right arm is just drawing some circles. And look around for the right angle. Like for me, if I go a little further back, ooh, I get some nervy stretch in my bicep. But maybe I'm more interested in looking for a neck stretch, so I'm going to come a little forward here. Oh yeah. Reverse those circles if you haven't. All right, this is, as a person with neck stuff, I'm like very sensitive to it. So I encourage you to be nice to your neck too. Take your arm down, right? Leave your head as it is. You're just going to roll it down and around to the other side. And then take a moment. Take your other arm out off to the side here. So this is going to be my left arm because my right ear is going down. And then my right hand comes up and just rests. It does not need to pull, okay? Just rests. And I'm drawing circles, looking for the good spot. Reverse. Oh my gosh, are you still breathing? I kind of forgot because I was so focused on necks and circles. Oof. Okay, my favorite part. Arms are going to come down to rest. Head is still off to the side here. You're going to come down to center, chin and nose and eyes looking straight down, right? First of all, this might be a nice stretch. You're tight like me. And then you're going to take one hand to your forehead and literally push your head up to help you bring your neck up to tall. And if that was like, what, I had to look at the screen, like go ahead, do the whole little series again now that you know what's going to happen, or rewind it and try not to look up before you like help yourself up with your head. It's just a really nice thing to do. One last thing for the neck. It's kind of like a physical therapy move if you ever feel like in your neck, but it's useful. You can do this however many times a day you need to. Just think about tucking your chin. And I always put my fingers on my chin just to help me think about it. Sending your chin straight back a few, half an inch or something. Go back and forward. Back and forward. Without my fingers there, it's just a little back and forward. If you think about it, it's your whole skull really, right? Not just your chin, it's your whole skull is going back and forth. And this little move is a nice stretch. It's an extension of your neck. It can be really therapeutic on your neck if you're having any cricks or pain. Even sometimes the shoulder stuff, we get pain in there and it's kind of deferred from around the neck. This can help. Again, with the fingers, let's push it back and forward. And if you do about 10 of those, I know we did a lot more than that. That's another nice way to take care of your neck. Okay, well, that is all. We are at time, so I hope you have a great day. And let me know if you have any requests or anything in the comments. Thank you.